Bosun, hide him aboard.
Aye, aye, sir.
Fire, dress ship. Very good, sir. Dress ship!
A Brief History of Man's Maritime Mastery. Chapter 18. A New Breed of Merchant Marine. In the quaint harbor of Salem, Massachusetts, a small yet formidable ship nestled into her berth, her wooden hull sighing as she swallowed up her cargo. Barrels of dried cod, hogsheads brimming with flour, apples, potatoes, and cheeses, and a bounty of some 5,000 bunches of onions were carefully stowed away. It was mid-September 1783, and the Grand Turk, a three-masted beauty built as a Revolutionary War privateer, was making ready for her maiden trading voyage. Elias Haskett Derby, one of America's first true merchant princes, surveyed his ship with the eye of a hawk. Every inch of the Grand Turk was inspected, ensuring the cargo was securely stowed, ready to brave the fury of the Atlantic. Derby, a man of sharp intellect and keener ambition, penned his instructions with the precision of a general. Sail to Martinique, sell most of the cargo for cash, and from there or Guadeloupe, load the ship with sugar, molasses, cocoa, and cotton. But if greater profit beckons from distant shores, chart your own course. And so the Grand Turk set sail for the West Indies, her captain not just a master of the sea, but also a shrewd merchant. For Elias Derby was no mere transporter. He owned the cargo and expected his captain to sell it as expertly as he sailed. And sell it he did, returning to Salem with a hold full of goods that doubled Derby's investment. Across the young nation, other captains were following in Derby's wake, turning the profits of the sea into the lifeblood of a new economy. But while most kept to familiar waters, Derby's gaze was already fixed on more distant horizons. In 1784, Derby sent his ship Light Horse to the Baltic, flying the U.S. flag into the frigid waters of St. Petersburg to sell sugar, a bold venture that paid off handsomely. In 1785, the Grand Turk set her sights on the far reaches of the Indian Ocean, calling at Cape Town before continuing to the Isle de France, known today as Mauritius. There she sold her cargo of candles, prunes, and other goods, and filled her hold with the treasures of the East, destined for the markets of China. China, an almost mythical land to these wandering Yankees, allowed foreign ships into only one port, Canton. The Grand Turk nosed her way through the crowded waters, finding her place among the great ships of Britain, Spain, Denmark, Holland, and Sweden. Here the Grand Turk encountered the formidable Hopo, or the customs official, who wielded immense power. He boarded the ship, measured her length and breadth, and with a series of precise calculations imposed a series of steep taxes and fees, taking a few sing-songs and trinkets with him as well. After much haggling and much delay, 400 chests of tea were loaded into her hold, along with table sets and accompanying cups. 5 months later, Salem ladies were sipping Bohai tea from Canton, while Elias Derby smiled at yet another 100% profit. The lure of the China trade was irresistible, drawing American vessels to Canton like moths to a flame. Even ships like the sloop Experiment were taken for tenders by the Chinese, who marveled at the audacity of these young American traders. In 1788, the Boston ship Columbia ventured further still, rounding Cape Horn to trade with the Pacific Northwest tribes for sea otter pelts, which she then exchanged for tea in Canton. This daring journey made her the first U.S. vessel to circle the globe, blazing a trail for others to follow. Meanwhile, in the ice-bound harbors of New England, an enterprising Bostonian named Frederick Tudor conceived a wild scheme, shipping ice to tropical ports. Though townsfolk scoffed and sailors feared the cargo would melt, Tudor's ice, packed in sawdust, survived the journey. The Ice King had found his fortune. Merchants like Tudor often sent supercargoes. Much like supervisors, these agents were educated at Harvard or trained in counting houses to handle business on these long voyages. Some of these men would eventually command ships themselves, but most captains learned the ropes the hard way, rising through the ranks by sheer grit and determination. One such young man was Nat Palmer of Connecticut, who shipped out at 14 and became a captain by 18. By 21, he had sighted Antarctica. Another, Nathaniel Bowditch of Salem, delighted in mathematics, teaching navigation to his crew and uncovering 8,000 errors in the standard English book of tables. His work, The Practical Navigator, published when he was just 28, remains a seafaring Bible to this day. With a bold spirit and unquenchable thirst for profit, American merchants brought new vigor to a global trade, but there was still another frontier to conquer, another ocean's bounty waiting to be tapped, the whaling grounds of the world.